WWE is now in full Wrestlemania season, and Monday Night Raw last night was a tale of two halves. A hot start and an awful finish. Stay tuned for why I feel that way. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me this Tuesday night. Let's get right into the claim that I had at the beginning of the video. Why do I feel like Raw was hot at the beginning, but then simmered down to basically dry coal at the end of the episode of Raw? Well, we all know exactly what happened last night on Raw to start the show. It, for the first time in I don't know how long, drew me in and kept me there. They had a great opening segment with Seth Rollins. Now, the goons that he has behind him in the masks, didn't like that, still don't like that. I hope to God that it ends soon, because I think it's way overplayed. I swear WWE is doing it just to piss off people that didn't like it. But that's besides the point. Everything else in this segment worked very well. Paul Heyman came out, and he should be a part of the 2026 Oscars for that performance. I don't know if the dude put lemon juice in his fucking eye or what, but man, was he convincing. And then he said F-O-F-A, F-O-F-A. And for a second, I was like, of course, WWE's not saying it because it's PG. But then I was like, wait a minute. He's going to say F5, and he did. Brock Lesnar is back. Super controversial, obviously. Say what you want about Lesnar, but he is still a draw for WWE. And the crowd went nuts for it. He comes out and completely obliterates all of Seth Rollins' masked men, worse than the Power Rangers eliminate those putties during like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But then the best part of the entire segment, what has everybody talking, finally WWE does right by one of their young stars for WrestleMania. Oba Femi's music hits. Out comes Over Femi is what I like to call him. Maybe I should trademark that so WWE pays me money if they ever use that idea. Over Femi, because he is way over. The crowd is into it. They love his strut. I love his strut. He comes in and completely obliterates Lesnar in a matter of like 10 seconds. He gives him the fall from grace, basically his last ride is essentially what it is. I'm sure he got the okay from The Undertaker to use that, because that's a hell of a move for him to have. And he lifts up a near 300-pound Brock Lesnar like he was a sack of flour. It was insanely impressive. That was the start of Raw. But then by the end of it, it was a huge flop. The only other good thing that happened on this Raw, in my opinion, was the Penta versus Dragon Lee match. I thought that match was superb. It was a little short. Could have showcased their talent a little bit better. But again, I've said this before, WWE with PG and the lower ceiling, especially when it comes to wrestling, because of PG and because less is more in their opinion, in their minds. I don't agree with that. I think that if you have the talent and the talent is there for each individual wrestler that is capable of it, let them unleash that talent. Penta and Dragon Lee are a lot more capable of what WWE allows them to show, but still a good match. That's it. Everything else on this episode, from Stephanie Vecker's bland-ass music, I honestly forgot it was her. That is how bland it is and how much it bleeds into everybody else's music, because their music is all produced by GarageBand, it feels like. Very generic, boring, bland-ass music. She comes out. I was shocked because I was like, who the hell is this? Before she comes out, I forgot it was her music. Bring back Stephanie Vecker's old music. That is a huge fail for them to get rid of something that was so great for the fans. Her match was okay. There's another women's match that had a lot of flops. AJ Lee, I believe it was. I'm sorry. She just can't go anymore. Her and CM Punk, I hope to God, are gone in the next year or two, because they are just so slow in the ring. And there was botch after botch after botch in that match. The thing that happened immediately after the Oba Femi segment, El Grande Americano versus the original El Grande Americano, which I was just shaking my head at the whole time because I'm tired of this laughing stock luchador storyline. You guys know how I feel about that. And the rest of Raw was honestly just ads, promos, ads, commercial break. I am sick and tired of how Raw, SmackDown is, where you have someone come out, then you go to an ad break, commercial break, you come back, the music is still playing, then you have a fucking backstage promo, music is still playing, by the way, then the other person's music hits, another commercial, and then, good God, 15 minutes later, the match finally starts, and more often than not, the match is under 10 minutes. That is the formula that Raw has been running on for a very long time, and besides the beginning and that Penta match, it fell victim to that same formula. Raw was generic towards the end, and now let's get into that awful final segment, that promo. This is where PG really hurts WWE. I cannot believe that they are building this feud around these two guys, and apparently all you have to say to flip CM Punk's lid is, at the end of the day, you're old. Roman Reigns says to CM Punk, Punk hits him, and that was it. The crowd was booing by the end of it. That's all you're going to give us, Triple H? What the hell was that? This is your build for, I believe, your night one. I believe it'll be the night one main event for WrestleMania. And about a month away from it, you're going to close a segment with just him calling him old and a punch. The crowd wanted more. They were booing by the end of it. They weren't booing him for leaving. They were booing because they wanted the segment to go on longer, but that was all they were given. Apparently, Roman Reigns cut a segment after Raw went off the air. Don't know why they let that happen without it being live. So, yet another fail. Here's a complaint right up here by somebody, and it's true. He made Roman look like a rookie. Roman just fell apart in the ring there. It felt like he may have froze up almost in a sense. Something was supposed to be said. I'm also seeing reports that apparently, this is how bad WWE creative is. They can't find anything creatively in between a bland comment saying you're old. That's the PG ceiling for you right there. And bad creative. In the extreme end of it, they were apparently going to put in CM Punk's dead dog Larry.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Into this promo. Apparently nobody was comfortable with it backstage, so they left it out. And they couldn't come up with anything else between all those people that you see sit around the creative table. I've seen snippets from WWE Unreal. I don't watch it, but I've seen snippets, and there's like 8 people. You're telling me 8 people can't come up with some alternative storyline, motive, diss, whatever you want to go with, other than you're old? And then all CM Punk said was, I don't want to disrespect another Samoan named Joe by calling you Joe, something like that. What are we doing here? This might be worse than the bracelet storyline that we had with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I think this was an awful segment to finish Raw. You've got all these signs that prove that WWE is just lost creatively. Pun intended, because literal signs, as you see right up here. One says ruthless depression. Another one says, I got it. We need one more masked man. That's really funny. Another sign said Triple H has no fresh ideas. There's signs like this every week. You got to assume that this is a problem, but they don't acknowledge it because all they care about at the end of the day is the fact that they're making money. So it doesn't matter how bad creative gets, the sheep that these E-stands are will keep feeding them the money. It's funny because years ago when AEW first started, I'm pretty sure the guy that now runs WWE, Triple H, called them a pissant t-shirt company. Well, the tables have turned because you yourself are the pissant t-shirt company. The most bought t-shirt on your website is a mascot, is a class clown sort of character. It's Danhausen. He comes out with a cannon to shoot merchandise out to the fans. That is a pissant t-shirt company, in my opinion. That is a company that has no creative direction except throwing out a guy that can sell t-shirts and coming up with half-assed, stupid, lame storylines for WrestleMania. Now on to a few AEW things to close out this video, as this is more WWE centric, this video anyway. But right up here, WWE reportedly has people employed to watch AEW and give reports and analytics to different departments. This comes from WrestleVotes on Fightful. This person goes on to say, I know there's people in Stamford with AEW action figures on their desks. There's people's jobs is to watch AEW programming and report into analytics in different departments on what's going on in AEW. Because they see them as a threat. Their fans won't admit it. They won't themselves blatantly admit it. But we know that WWE definitely sees AEW as a threat, especially creatively. Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin announced for a coffin match tomorrow night on Dynamite. That's going to be the best wrestling match of the week, most likely. It'll be better than anything that happened on Raw. It'll be better than anything that happens on NXT and SmackDown. I cannot wait for this. I hope that we see Gabe Kidd win, because I think if the feud's going to continue a little longer, he needs to at least pick up a win. Maybe the dogs help him. Also, for AEW news, AEW filed trademark for Continental Cup. So they already have the Continental Classic. Are we going to see a trophy for the Continental Cup? Or the Continental Classic? Are we going to see them have a trophy, a cup that you win, rather than a belt? Let me know what you guys think about that down below. And lastly, to close out this video, here's someone right here that says their honest reaction to watching AEW for the first time. A person digging and finding diamonds. That's what happens when you give AEW a chance. More people need to start digging, and they will find stuff that is actually good, legitimate wrestling, instead of the fluffed out, overproduced, overhyped, full of ads and celebrities and promos, and then sprinkled in wrestling that you get with WWE on Raw and SmackDown. That's all I had in this episode of Screw the Script. Let me know down below your thoughts on everything that I covered about Raw, a few AEW things that I had, and let me know what you think about the upcoming coffin match with Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. Who do you think's going to win? Let me know down below. As always, this was Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.